So keep in mind that the higher the temperature setting, the more likely you are to burn your coffee. So you don't want to go too high, but you can also extract more flavors that way. For the millibar setting, the higher you go on the millibars, so 9.5, I wouldn't want to go much higher than that, but you're more likely to accentuate the acidic and the bitter flavors, where by having an 8.5 millibar would give you more leeway in terms of getting a better shot. But for me, this is how I set it up, and I find I get a good shot most of the time. Okay, so we're going to add the beans to the hopper. Just enough for a double. Now I already have this grinder dialed in for about a 27-second pull for 1 3/4 ounces, which is generally what I find works best for this coffee. So our portafilter is heated, which is very important. We're going to dry it out. And I have the double shot dialed in for about 19 grams, and then based on my eye, I can decide if it needs a little bit more or a little less. So you can see there is some clumping there, and it's a little bit less than I'd like. As you can see, I shook the portafilter as it was coming in. I can do that because I know this grinds about 19 grams, and it's sort of how I've gotten into my routine of knowing exactly how much I need. So right now I'm just filling in all the cracks along the edges. I want a nice smooth layer of coffee there. I do a double tamp, so a light one, and by that I can tell with about the amount I can see showing around the tamper that I've got about 20 grams. It looks like a pretty good one. Some people tap it, some people bang it. I just tend to avoid doing any of that stuff. I do the 30-pound press. And then I wipe off the rim. And we're looking for a nice shiny surface. Okay, now just for sake of keeping me honest, I'm going to pop out the portafilter here and measure it. I do this now and then just to make sure that I'm keeping the right amount of grams. So the portafilter weighs 27 grams. And I have 46.5. I'm pretty happy with that. Now if I was doing this all the time, I wouldn't do it that way, because popping it out, I've caused the coffee to become unpacked, possibly causing cracks, fissures to open up. But for this demonstration purpose, that's how we've done it. I'll just give it a nice pack again there. But not an ideal way to do it. Okay, so you just tamped our puck. We have a nice shiny finish. About 20 grams of coffee, which we've measured. We're going to purge the head. Immediately insert the portafilter. And we're looking for about 1 3/4 to 2 ounces and 27 to 30 seconds. Looks like a good start to the first pull. fine. 15 seconds, good dark foamy stream. Okay, coming up on 30 seconds. We are blonding and shedding. So there we have about 1 3/4. You want this gauge to be around 1 bar during the brew. I usually give it a spray, and then I wait for the heating element to kick in and start climbing before I start brewing, because otherwise the steam temperature can get down a little low. Here we go, we have submerged the wand all the way in. We open it all the way up, and we bring the tip just so we start to hear a little bit of air being entered in there. You want the wand at about a 45 degree, the milk swirling nicely. And you want to heat the milk to about 145 degrees Fahrenheit. I don't always use a measuring thermometer. Now we've seen the milk's grown a bit there, so that's about right. Now we want to I use my hand to get a feeling of how hot the milk should be. We're getting there. Oh, there it is. Always blow your wand out so you don't have milk in there. Okay, now I just want to say one thing about Starbucks and Starbucks blends, their special blend. I know a lot of people rave about Starbucks coffee, and sure, they're in their own right, they brought better brewing to North America, I guess you could say. But Starbucks espresso is not good. If you think it's good, if you've had an espresso at Starbucks and you say it's good, you're obviously lying. It's terrible. It's super bitter. Their beans are super oily, super black, over roasted. These are all signs of poor roasting techniques, which can be good in other areas, but definitely not in espresso making. So if you think Starbucks is a great flavor, then I think your perspective is lacking in all kindness, and you need to find that super pretentious uber hipster hangout, as much as we all hate them at some times. But you know, they have the $20,000 La Marzocco espresso machine, and they have the the $3,000 mazzer grinder, and believe it or not, you're gonna experience a whole new level of coffee flavor. And by doing that, you're going to have a new benchmark for what you know as good coffee. I went through the same process. I was lucky enough in Victoria to have several great baristas in that area. They're pretty lucky there. So as a final note, if the beans don't have a roast date on them, then they're probably no good, and that includes everything you find at a grocery store, and often even if it's at a local roaster, their beans may be way too old. So look for the roast date, don't look for best before dates. Those are a bunch of crap. The final thing I want to add is controlling the humidity of your beans. When they arrive in the mail or wherever you get them from, freshly roasted, that's usually their ideal humidity, and the bag is kept it that way. So as soon as I open mine, I stick it in the a container like this, which is airtight, and it maintains the humidity of those beans as close as I can. And also for grinding, I only grind what I need for the next couple hours. So if you're not starting with a proven bean blend that's specially designed for espresso makers, then you're leaving a lot up to chance. You could try and try and try and never get a good espresso because you haven't started with the best basic materials that you can. So my biggest advice is find a reputable company that gives you all the information about their beans, and also a company that has proven history, or even if you have the chance to taste their espresso, then that's the best way. If you like it, then go with it. You can easily replicate what they do these days.